After 2 decades of working with AEC firms, I've spotted a pattern of marketing mistakes that almost everyone makes. Mistakes that could be killing opportunities and costing your firm millions. The good news? They're easy to fix once you know what to look for. So let's unpack the 20 most painful AEC marketing mistakes together so you can attract the right opportunities and win more work. Marketing mistake number 1, thinking marketing is only about proposals. Now, proposals are an essential way AEC firms win work. The problem is the proposal comes at the very end of the pursuit process. Now, imagine training for a marathon, excited to cross that finish line, but running only the last mile, and then being confused why you didn't get the medal. Well, AEC marketing is a process and certainly not a sprint. Great AEC marketing begins with positioning your firm for the job well before the RFP hits the street and ends with you submitting your firm's proposal. But if you want to win more of the right work, proposals can't be the only marketing activity. If they are, you're already leaving millions of dollars on the table and not likely to win any medals. So what should you do? Start by identifying your ideal clients and building relationships through networking, industry events, or sharing expertise. So when that RFP lands in your inbox, your firm is already top of mind. Mistake number 2, thinking your logo is the problem. If proposals are the last step in the marketing process, then maybe your logo is the first. But AEC marketing isn't just a series of dominoes. Your logo is more like the color of your front door. If you're struggling to sell your house, you could declutter, deep clean, post great photos online, or even bake cookies before an open house. All things that make a real difference. But painting the front door a fresh shade of grayish, that alone won't get you more offers. Changing how your firm is perceived goes much deeper than your logo. Simply updating your logo isn't what's going to move the needle. AEC marketing and rebranding are processes, and changes to the logo should come at the end. So before you attempt a logo refresh, ask yourself, have we figured out what makes our firm unique and what our brand is really about? Focus on that first. And yes, your logo does serve a very important role. You're going to have to stick around to the end to learn what that is. Mistake number 3, you're lost in the sea of sameness. So many firms struggle to stand out in the market. They do great work, but are losing out on projects. And worse yet, top talent is jumping ship to other firms. Here's a quick experiment. Open up your competitor's website in one tab and yours in another. Cover up the firm names and logos and just read the words on the home page and the About Us. Now, if the language on both sites sounds interchangeable, you're lost in the sea of sameness and you've got some work to do. The solution for standing out is called brand positioning. That means carving out a specific place in your client's mind, who you are, what you do, and why it matters. To get started, ask yourself, what's the one thing that we do better or differently than anyone else? And if you want to rise above the sea of sameness, make sure your entire team is aligned on that answer. Mistake number 4, marketing malpractice. We all know great marketing when we see it, from Super Bowl spots to viral videos, but those campaigns didn't just happen. They were the result of smart, intentional strategy. So why do so many AEC marketers just copy what worked for someone else, hoping for the same results? Imagine this. You walk into your doctor's office for a checkup, and before you say a word, the doctor hands you a prescription. That's called malpractice. And if your marketing firm tells you what you need before understanding your goals, I think that's marketing malpractice. Instead, every marketing or branding effort should be guided by your brand strategy. That means figuring out what makes your firm stand out, your unique strengths, and how to connect with the people you want to reach. As marketers, our job is to diagnose first, auditing your firm from the inside out, and then build a strategy that's tailored to you. Do this and you'll be the one they're trying to copy. So before you start your next campaign, ask yourself, have we really defined what makes us different and who we want to reach? And if not, start there. Don't let anyone else hand you a prescription before they understand your firm, inside and out. Mistake number 5, playing it too safe. One of the biggest mistakes AEC firms make is writing everything with a bland, overly technical, or vanilla tone. Now, the Bare Naked Ladies once sang, "Vanilla is the finest of the flavors." And while I do love me some vanilla ice cream, I don't think they were singing about vanilla marketing or vanilla ice. Your firm's consistent writing style, that's called your brand voice. And it's the personality and style that makes your firm's messaging sound uniquely yours. Here's the thing, most firms sound exactly the same, making your brand voice a nearly untapped opportunity to stand out in the AEC industry. Whether it's a project proposal, your website, or social media, your brand voice should sound uniquely and unmistakably like you. When your grit, swagger, technical expertise, or even your unique sense of humor shines through, you'll never be confused with another firm again. To get started, pick one piece of copy like your About Us page and ask, does this actually sound like us, or could it come from any firm? If it's too vanilla, add a little of your chocolate, strawberry, or pistachio. Now that sounds more refreshing and way more memorable. Word to your mother. Mistake number 6, doing things the way they've always been done. One of the most maddening mistakes that AEC firms make is continuing to do things the way they've always done them. Now, if your firm has a long-running marketing campaign that continues to create excitement and drive leads, keep it going. But let's be honest, how often is that really the case? I mean, it reminds me of the time one of our kids decided to fix some sushi in the rice maker with the lid off. Unsurprisingly, the water all boiled off and the rice cooked to a crisp. The beauty of a rice maker is that it keeps the steam in. It makes a perfect sticky rice. But imagine if you decided that dry burnt rice was the way it's supposed to be and you made it that way forever. It's silly, right? But some AEC marketing efforts are looking just as dry and burnt. Maybe you're hanging on to an old logo because a friend designed it, or sponsoring an expensive event just because you always have. Here's the point. When it comes to marketing and standing out, don't let tradition burn other options. You don't have to change everything, but you do need to be open to fresh ideas. What's one thing your firm does because it's how we've always done it? Ask yourself, is this really working, or is it just tradition? If it's not serving you, it's time to put the lid on and cook up something better. Marketing mistake number 7, your team is not in sync. If you asked everyone in your firm to describe who your firm is, what you do, and why it matters, how many different answers do you think you would get? For many AEC firms, the elevator pitch is like a game of telephone. As the message gets passed around the office, it comes back completely different from where it started. Sometimes your team isn't just giving different pitches, they're not even on the same elevator. Instead, you need an elevator pitch that's short, punchy, and memorable so your team and your prospects can actually remember it. One of the biggest benefits of a solid brand strategy process is getting your firm truly aligned. Your elevator pitch is just one of the tools to make sure everyone's on the same page. You want to test this out? Ask 3 team members from different departments to all give you the firm's elevator pitch. If you get 3 different enough answers, it's time to craft a fresh pitch. You don't have to memorize it word for word, just make sure everyone sounds like they're riding in the same elevator and headed to the same floor. AEC marketing mistake number 8, drowning in the alphabet soup. Differentiating your AEC firm is hard enough on a good day, but for the love of all that is holy, please think twice before shortening your firm name with an acronym. The AEC industry is flooded with acronym names and other acronyms for what we do, with giants like WSP, HNTB, PBK, and HDR. Dyslexic guys from me are just wishing we could buy a vowel. Sure, those names belong to huge, impressive firms. We're not taking anything away from that. Most are a mashup from their founders' last names, like Howard, Needles, Tammen, and Bergendorf, becoming HNTB. But unless you're as big as HOK, HGA, or RSNH, and you've got a budget to make your acronym a household name, you're going to drown in the alphabet soup. And seriously, what's up with all the H's? Instead, try a name that actually helps your firm stand out, like Populous or Arcadis, or my friends at Delve Underground. We even helped Bueller and Bueller once skip B&B and go straight to just Bueller. Names like these are memorable and can help you carve out your own space in the market. If you're thinking about rebranding your firm, ask yourself, does our name help us stand out, or are we just another bowl of alphabet soup? Find something unique and you'll be ready to leave those acronyms behind. Better yet, just keep them in your kid's lunchbox. AEC marketing mistake number 9, not scaling trust. If you've worked in the AEC industries for any length of time, you know this is a relationship business. Our firms get hired by people who know, like, and trust us. And when everything else is equal, similar firms with strong proposals, the client will always choose the team that they're most excited to work with. So, how can you scale relationships and trust faster? Take a page out of the Taylor Swift, Joe Rogan, Oprah, or Dave Grohl playbook. What do they all have in common? They're magnetic personalities, and their fans feel a real connection with them even if they've never met them in person and have only seen them on a screen. But how does that translate to the AEC industry? Video. Telling your firm's story on video is one of the best shortcuts I've ever seen for building relationships. Video lets people see your personality, your passion, and your expertise, activating that know, like, and trust experience before you ever meet. If you've made it this far into this video, you might be experiencing a little bit of that now. If so, say hello in the comments and let's chat about how we can put this into practice for your firm. Now, let's get back to that list. And remember, every video doesn't have to be cinema. You can get started today. Record a short video introducing your team or sharing a recent project. Let people see the real you. And that's how trust starts to scale. AEC marketing mistake number 10, copying the competition. If you're trying to differentiate your firm from the competition, copying someone else is a bad move. The whole point of branding and marketing is to help your firm stand out. So why do so many firms end up blending in? This is one of the greatest paradoxes of branding. You see, a paradox is simply the idea that seemingly opposite ideas are both true. The branding paradox is that every firm should aim to be as unique as possible while still fitting into their industry. Think about real estate agents. Their business cards are stereotypically flashy with big glamour shot photos of the agent on the front. You'd never mistake a realtor's business card for a surgeon or a professor's. So while copying your competition's look and feel or website are some of the worst moves you can make, there's a balance. Your firm should feel like it belongs in your industry, but also have its own unique flair. If you're a high-end design firm, your website should feel clean, elegant, and professional, just like others in your space. But here's your chance to stand out. Use your own language, color palette, and photography style to express what makes you different. Don't blend in. Find your balance and be unmistakably you. Glamour shots, those are optional. Marketing mistake number 11, thinking everyone should get a vote. The smaller your firm, the more likely you are to fall into the trap of running things like a democracy, where everyone gets a vote on big decisions. Now, nothing will derail a major marketing initiative like a rebrand or a new website faster than asking too many opinions. You know the saying, too many chefs spoil the soup. Or as the designer of the original Mini allegedly said, a camel is just a horse designed by committee. Just look at the Pontiac Aztec or maybe the Cybertruck for proof. Too many decision makers will spell disaster for your AEC firm's marketing. But what if you're in a larger firm with a dozen or more principals who all have decision-making authority? Here's the key. It's fine to get broad input at the beginning. More ideas, more data, everyone feels heard. That's great, but when it's time to decide, limit your committee to 3 to 5 final decision makers. That's how you avoid that design by committee disaster. If you want to involve more team members, survey the staff about your firm's values or ask them to rank your top brand attributes. Just don't put your fonts, colors, or the Oxford comma up for a vote. The next time you're facing a big marketing decision, set clear boundaries. Gather input early, but keep the final vote to a small group. Your brand and your sanity will thank you. You're welcome. Mistake number 12, Sam from accounting doesn't like it. The second cousin to that last AEC marketing mistake is getting last-second feedback that derails your process. In the classic Monday morning quarterback move, well-intentioned folks swoop in at the end to share what the team should have done differently, even though they never played the game. But your decision makers should all have skin in the game from the beginning. As I've said before, getting more people involved at the beginning is great. More perspectives make for a stronger end product. but never invite fresh opinions at the end of a branding or marketing process. If someone didn't weigh in at the start, they don't get a vote at the finish line. And honestly, doesn't Sam from accounting have a little accounting to do? Set a clear deadline for input early in the process, and after that, only those who are involved from the start get a say. That way, your project keeps moving forward and Sam can get back to the books. Marketing mistake number 13, you're not building the business to sell. Mergers and acquisitions have been a hot topic in the AEC industry for years, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. But here's the thing, your firm doesn't need to be on the market to benefit from a ready-to-sell mindset. It's like that old saying, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Preparing your firm for a future sale means making sure all your business systems, marketing, accounting, data, business development, they're all healthy and firing on all cylinders. Some of my favorite rebrands that I've worked on helped firms prepare for a future sale, a spin-off, or even a smooth ownership transition. So how do you put this into practice? Look for areas in your firm where you feel things are disorganized, where key knowledge is trapped in one person's head. Maybe it's your digital asset management, your marketing calendar, or your sales process. Pick one area and make it your priority to improve this year. Because even if you never sell, you'll end up with a well-oiled, better organized, and more profitable firm. And if Stantec ever comes knocking, you'll be ready to sell for top dollar. AEC marketing mistake number 14, marketing everything to everyone. Very few AEC firms are so specialized that they only offer one thing. Most firms offer a wide variety of services for a broad range of clients and industries. But here's the irony. If you tell the market you do everything for everyone, you'll fail to stand out at all. Remember the Where's Waldo books? Waldo always wore his signature stripes and glasses, but he was tough to spot in those busy scenes. That's what happens when you try to position your firm as the go-to for every need. You blend right into the noise. Now, if Waldo's world is our crowded marketplace, your job is to make your firm stand out for one particular thing. That doesn't mean you have to stop offering a variety of services, but you do need to choose something specific to be known for. That one thing will pique your prospect's curiosity and open the door to share more about what you do. Ask yourself, if we could only be known for one thing, what would that be? Rally your team around that answer and let it become your signature stripes. That's how you'll be noticed in a crowd and remembered. AEC marketing mistake number 15, not seeing the value in your online presence. Our clients don't visit our website. I've probably heard that 100 times, and it's probably true now, but it hasn't always been the case. Once upon a time, that same client was referred to your firm. And what did they do next? They checked out your website to validate the referral. In fact, your website is probably the most powerful validation tool you have. There's nothing better than great clients praising your performance and referring you to new prospects. But what happens when those new prospects land on your site today? Will they hit the back button? Will they scroll down to learn more? I call that passing the 2-second test. When a prospect lands on your website, you've got about 2 seconds to convince them you're in the running. And it's not just clients. Prospective employees are doing the exact same thing. And even if you do pass the 2-second test, your website still has to engage and convince visitors to take the next step. Fast forward, and that prospect becomes your newest, happiest client. They might not have a reason to visit your website again, but if you play your cards right, they'll be referring you to their friends, and the cycle starts all over. Open your website and ask yourself, if I were a prospect, would I want to learn more or would I bounce? Make sure your site passes the 2-second test and invites visitors to dig deeper. Now, isn't that worth investing in? AEC marketing mistake number 16, your firm resists everything. AEC firms are famous for resisting change. I've heard it all. Do we really need a website? Do we really need social media, video? That's not for us. After 20 years in the business, I joke that if you want to see what the future of AEC looks like, just look at what other industries are already doing. Over the past 20 years, the AEC industry has caught up quite a bit, but there are still laggards. The best firms don't wait, they lead. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just pick an industry that's ahead, like tech or retail, and see what they're doing. This week, pick one area where your firm is lagging. Is it your website, social media, video? Find a company outside of AEC that's nailing it and set that as your benchmark for the year. Because in business, the only constant is change, and those who resist get left behind. AEC marketing mistake number 17, discounting your internal audience. If you want a new initiative to flop, just spring it on your team after all the decisions are already made. Your firm has lots of audiences, but none of them matter more than your employees. Imagine you're starring in your own production of Hamilton, but you made all the decisions by yourself. Not only did you leave out Burr and Washington, but you forgot to recruit the rest of the Republic into the room where it happens. Now, picture rolling out a new website or rebrand with nothing but a surprise email. Cue the eye rolls and grumbling. Why did we waste our time on this? Who decided on that? Instead, treat them like your VIP audience. Bring them in early. Explain the why. Let them help shape the process and keep them in the loop every step of the way. When it's time to reveal the change, make it a celebration. Build excitement. Let the new logo or website be the grand finale and not the opening act. Because when your team feels involved, they become your biggest advocates. And that's how you make any initiative a success. Next time you plan a big change, start with a kickoff meeting. Ask for feedback before you make all the big decisions. They don't all get a vote in the final decision, but your team will thank you, and so will your results. AEC marketing mistake number 18, thinking everyone will care. I know how much work goes into marketing your AEC firm, so when it's time to announce your new website or shiny new logo, you'll be excited to share it with the world. There's just one problem. Nobody is going to care. Remember that scene in the first Christopher Nolan Batman movie where Bruce Wayne says, "As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored. I can be destroyed. But as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting." Not to be overly dramatic, I'm Batman. But your rebrand is the same. It's not about the logo or the website itself. It's about what your brand stands for and the story behind it. If you just post your new logo, you might get a handful of polite likes and otherwise crickets. But what if you share the story, the why behind your rebrand? People are much more likely to actually engage. The truth is, almost nobody will care that you have a new logo or website, but they will care about the story or the why behind your rebrand. So when you roll out your new initiative, lead with the why. Craft a short story about what inspired the change and what it means for your clients. And let the new logo be the cherry on top. AEC marketing mistake number 19, failing to attract and retain top talent. As important as your new clients are, if you fail to land and keep the best employees, you'll be missing out on millions in future revenue. I always think back to a client who was going through an ownership transition. We were hired to rebrand them and redesign their website. One of their young interior designers referred her roommate to apply for an open position. But even though her roommate saw how much she enjoyed her job, the firm's old, dated website almost convinced her to not apply at all. If your firm has a ton of open positions, but just can't seem to attract the right talent, sometimes it's about looking the part. How do you expect to attract the best and brightest with a website stuck in 2007? Top candidates know they have options. It's your job to make your firm look like the best choice. Take a moment to view your brand and your website through the eyes of an applicant. Would you be excited to learn more? Would you apply right away, or would it take some convincing from your roommate? Sometimes the difference between landing top talent and missing out is as simple as your first impression. You want to know for sure? Ask a recent hire what their first impression was of your website or brand. AEC marketing mistake number 20. On second thought, maybe it was the logo all along. Okay, you're right. Attracting top talent and winning work is never about a new logo, but your logo does play a very important role. You see, a new logo is a visual signal. It means something has changed. As a kid, I remember walking down the grocery store aisle and spotting a new bomb burst on the Pop-Tarts box. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew something had changed. Was it a new flavor? Was it a toy inside? Maybe there's just more Pop-Tarts in the box. Humans are visual creatures, and when something looks different, we notice and we get curious. So while your firm doesn't need to change its logo every year, a well-timed visual update can spark curiosity and signal something new is happening. Just leave the bomb burst artwork in the grocery aisle. Next time your firm makes a big change, ask yourself, would a visual refresh help signal that change to the market? Those are the 20 most painful AEC marketing mistakes that I've seen. But here's the thing. None of this will work if your branding committee is a mess from the start. Want to know how to get it right? Watch this video next and I'll walk you through the exact steps. And yes, I've had a haircut since then. Enjoy. Trust me, you don't want your committee to be mistake number 21. See you over there.